Hey. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Hell, baby.
That's what I'm talking about,
victors.
baby. That is what I'm talking about. We talked about it on Friday. We said we had to take a step back. Michigan is winning games the way they're supposed to be winning them, and that means just winning them. Like with the needs to running game, they give you the running game. If you need the passing game, you see the passing game. If you need the defense to step up, they step up. They match defense to defense. What Wisconsin defense, very good at the pressure of attack for a rush defense. Michigan still was able to squeak out 100 yards and make it easier in the other ramifications of the game. I was just excited for them. I mean, still some things you want to clean up in that game, but they went to Wisconsin, hostile environment, great defense on the defensive front, but Michigan played well.
I loved just
I still got
aside from the game. Aside from the game, I loved that they embraced jump around,
right,
and that they had fun and they owned it, because this is still supposed to be fun, and when you win, it's fun, and they were winning, and it was fun. And this is exactly what we wanted to see. Tom Mazaway, I am on cloud 9 this morning.
When I saw that on Saturday, I said, well, they owned it. And Jim Harbaugh is back. And what I mean by he's back is he's reinvented himself. He kind of knows, hey, I lost it back there in that Michigan State punt game. Yes, the ghost of Jim Harbaugh left me. But I think it's slowly creeping back into his body. Hell, he didn't even wear khakis. He wore blue pants. Michigan looked great with their blue pants.
I loved him.
Now, Bray, I want to ask you, how long's jump around been going on at Whiskey?
30 years.
Okay. Did you guys jump around?
No.
Then I really like what happened.
And that's exactly.
I really like it.
Yeah, you guys took the words out of my mouth. I was so happy from jumping around the studio, I lost my train of thought for a second. But it was one of those things where jump around was around when I was there last time, and we had a little conversation in the huddle. We were bobbing our heads a little bit, but we didn't own it like that. We didn't embrace it like that. We didn't know we could. Lloyd didn't allow us to do that. I guarantee you, and this goes to what you said. Jim Harbaugh had a conversation with his kids. I've been in these locker rooms. I've been in these meeting rooms.
You have?
I've been in these locker rooms. I've been in these meeting rooms. What happens is when you are going into an opponent's field, the coaches talk to you. The coaches want to exploit something. The coach will tell you, hey, you know what? We know that jump around is their thing, but we're going to kick their butts in the first 3 quarters. When we get to that 4th quarter and it's time to play jump around, we will be ahead in the rushing game, the passing game, and on defense. And guess what? Most important of all, we will be leading this game and winning this game handily. We will be in control of this game. And when so, we are going to show them how to jump around. I guarantee you that was a conversation had all week. I guarantee they jumped around and played that. You heard what he said in the week. He said the neighbors were complaining how loud they were. Not really, but that there were going to be some neighbors complaining. That was his way of joking, saying that they would be playing House of Pain all week to get them ready, get them excited to be in that atmosphere. They went up there and they kicked some ass.
Braylon, I love this team.
Yeah. I
love this team, man. They play defense. They run the football. They had over 100 yards rushing against the number 1 rushing defense in the country. Cade McNamara made plays when he had to.
They finally let him throw more than 20 passes in the game.
Couple of big plays on 3rd down, and I know that J.J. McCarthy looks really good, and he looks like the guy, and everybody's going to be talking about, Cade, should we be starting J.J., all this stuff, and that's fine. Hopefully there's room for both of them, because I do think you can use both of them in different periods.
Yeah.
But Cade McNamara played very well. To me, did he miss some throws? Yes. But he also made some in a tough environment. Really the first true road game this football team has played in over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay? They didn't have an environment like this to play in last year.
No,
there were no fans allowed last year. So for Cade McNamara and this Michigan team to go on the road in that environment against a Wisconsin team who was so desperate for a win and perform like that and blow Wisconsin out.
Yeah.
And still no turnovers for me, and I don't care that Alex Bowman threw a pick in garbage time. I still consider Michigan to not have any turnovers. If you can run the ball, if you can convert on 3rd down, if you can play good defense, and if you don't turn the ball over, Braylon, that is a recipe for a lot of wins, and dare I say, competition for a championship. This team is going to compete for a championship. Now, sorry.
Go ahead. I love it.
I'm very passionate about this. Enjoy the ride. Don't worry about Michigan State. Don't worry about Penn State. Don't worry about Ohio State. I said it at Big Boy on Friday, and I'm going to say it again. Because Neil got me going on Friday. Neil Rule got me going on Friday. When are you going to be excited about this team? And Neil says, when they beat when they end up in Indianapolis. And I'm thinking to myself as a fan, well, that's no fun.
Yeah.
The season's over at that point. Like, what are you going to do in the next 2 months? So enjoy what's happening right now. That's what I'm doing, and I'll take it week to week. On to Nebraska. It's going to be a tough environment. Night game in Lincoln. We'll see what happens. I expect Michigan to compete and win the football game, but let's go 1 week at a time.
Couple things. I'm extremely proud of this team, and I'm happy for this team. And none of them have been there before. None of these guys have been there when they've won. None of these guys have been there when they won at a high level. So I think it's all new to them. So I don't think you have any of them really thinking about, Michigan State in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or Ohio State at the end of the year, or Penn State down in Happy Valley. These guys are winning a day at a time. They're having the time of their lives in Ann Arbor. They're having the time of their lives at Schembechler and on the road. So I think they'll continue to do that. Another side, I'm glad that other players are starting to come up and they're starting to show themselves. One of the things that I was interested in is whenever Michigan has had really good teams, they've had pretty good secondaries. Like, you can always name some, Jordan Lewis. You can name the Levert, Delano Hill, Jabril Peppers. Back when I was playing, Marlon Jackson, Leon Hall, 2 first rounders. Like, Daxton Hill is starting to show itself. Daxton Hill has had 11 tackles, a sack, and an interception in the last 2 games. Like, he's really coming on as a guy. They're really just playing just great fundamental football, and they're having fun doing it. Like, I watched Jim Harbaugh with his hands around. I don't know if you have the picture. Had Jim Harbaugh with his arms around Cade McNamara before the game started, and he was smiling. And I haven't seen Jim smile like that since 2015. Even after they lost to Michigan State in 2015, he came back in 2016 and almost went undefeated. He wasn't smiling. It was hard. Football hasn't been fun for him, or maybe not fun, but it just seems it's been hard. Like the stories, the end of San Francisco has been hard. After 2015-16, it's been hard. Him leaving, Stanford was hard. It seems like he's got back to a place. He's healthy. He's in shape. He's in his playing weight. His team's having fun. He's got some young guys on that coaching staff, 6 or 10 extra new coaches this year. They just changed the identity, and it changed. So it's changed him for the better. He looks very, very happy.
Hey, look, man, there's 5 Big Ten teams in the top 11 right now. So the Big Ten is doing what they're supposed to do through 4 weeks so far. All right? So far, it looks pretty darn good. Through 5 weeks. Excuse me. Nebraska, that's going to be a challenge. They're going at Lincoln. Nebraska is much better than people give them credit for. And Scott Frost is going to get that thing straight one of these years. Yeah. I think he's on his way. So Nebraska, they're going to be a hard out for the
Night
Michigan
game, too.
It's going to be a hard out in Lincoln. I'm not going past that. But what you said, go back to the national guys. Gus Johnson. You heard what he said about Michigan. Joel Klatt, the color commentator. Listen what Joel said about Michigan. This is a national guy. Check it out.
So what is the bottom line for the Michigan Wolverines? Everyone's going to start to think about, is this the year for Michigan? Is this the year that they can beat Ohio State? Stop. I know that everyone is going to want to know if this is the team that can compete with and beat Ohio State. Wait for that week. Just look at it a game at a time. Nebraska presents challenges. Michigan State will present challenges. Indiana will present challenges. Penn State will present challenges. If they can just focus on those challenges, continue to develop in these new schemes, then maybe they can get to a point where they can beat Ohio State. But focusing on that too early is not going to be beneficial for this team or its fan base. Let the team grow, mature, and evolve during the course of the year and focus one game at a time. Nebraska is a lot better than people think. There's no doubt about it. And Michigan will have to play a very clean game like they did today against Wisconsin in order to win that one.
just look at what we've been saying all year about Michigan. And this is before, we knew how good Michigan was. But even still, and this is the outside, this is the fans, or these are people that aren't fans. These are people that are telling, what have they done or who are they playing? Mm-hmm. We said before the Western game, we said Michigan had to be careful because Caleb Ellaby was the number 3 accurate quarterback coming into the season, correct?
A lot of people say he'll play Sundays.
They got to Caleb Ellaby.
They're 4-1, by the way.
Yeah. They got to Caleb Ellaby, kept him from throwing touchdowns. Final score 47-14. We talked about Washington. We talked about how athletic Washington had been in the last 4 years. Their name has been up there and almost making it to the college football playoffs a couple of times. Having some Heisman Trophy nominees early on in the season with the quarterback. 31-10. Handled them. Night game. All the energy. They did everything they needed to do in that game. Then we said they couldn't pass in that game. Came back Northern Illinois. Said, be careful. Northern Illinois has a good passing game. They could probably put some points on the board. You didn't look like you could throw the ball well. What did they do there? They came back. They threw the ball. They ran the ball. They shut Northern Illinois down 63-10. Rutgers, you say it's the Big Ten. Sometimes you have those games like that when conference play starts where it just happens. They did what they needed to do to win. Talked about Wisconsin and that defensive rush team. They had the number 1 defense as it relates to the rush in the country. It was in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a better team than that Notre Dame lost show. Wisconsin's a better team than losing to Penn State. We said that. Going up there, it's going to be hostile. What did they do? They beat the brakes off Wisconsin. Everything and every time somebody says something about an opposition, Michigan is beating them at their own game. So this team needs some respect. I'm not saying they could win a national championship. Guess what? I'm not talking about the national championship. I'm talking about the next game, and the next game is Nebraska.
I want to get into some Michigan State football as well. 5-0. I'm not sure too many people expected the Spartans to be 5-0 at this point of the season. I want to get your guys' thoughts on them. I've got one that Michigan State fans are not going to like.
Uh-oh.
And I'll give them a little credit too, but right. I've just...
It'll be 2 weeks in a row. That's all good.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.